Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of FTWGT Weekly. I am Lenny. He is Dante. And this is a history lesson.
What up, y'all?
Kind of. It's that time of the year again, folks. We're not talking Dante's period.
Dog. It doesn't come any time of the year or ever.
You're not spotting right now?
No. No offense to anybody that does. Not me. You know?
It's the summer and it's amusement park season. So I thought it'd be appropriate to look up some facts around the amusement park industry, learn a little bit about it. Where did it start? Its humble beginnings, and where did it get to? So I'm going to kick us off with a little bit of history. Dante, do you know when the first recorded amusement park was?
I'm going to take a guess and say in the 1500s.
Well, I feel like you read this.
Maybe.
You're a fucking asshole trying to pass that one by. Yeah, you are correct. The Guinness Book of World Records has it in Bakken. Well, it's called Bakken, and it was in Kampenberg, Denmark. It was the world's first amusement park. It opened in 1583 near a freshwater spring, which featured live entertainment, fireworks, dancing, games, and even some early rides. Would you have gone? Probably not, because it was in Denmark. I don't know if they would have let you.
I mean, Denmark in the 1500s, I don't think it was allowed.
Yeah, probably not. Its first roller coaster, however, didn't open until 1932. You could have probably not even still.
No, very no.
But cool story. It's still operating today.
Yeah.
The second one was called Whirlstell Prada, and it was in Austria. That one opened in 1766. Common theme here was Europe got to this trend first.
Do you think it started as a tourist attraction? Was it the way to get the American money?
I don't think we were probably going there in the 1500s so much, were we?
Well, what was it after 1776?
Yeah, I was. When did Columbus sail? I asked this question like 3 weeks ago.
1492 for those wondering.
The third one was even in Copenhagen in 1843. But interestingly enough, this one was called Tivoli Gardens, and it was famous for inspiring Walt Disney's design of 1955's Disneyland. As of today, it still operates one of the oldest wooden roller coasters called the Rutschenbahnen. I got that one pretty damn good.
Yeah, you're nailing these pronunciations.
And that one was created in 1914. Did you happen to catch the oldest U.S. park was, Dante?
Is that Lakemont Park in Pennsylvania?
No.
Crap.
I have, and so I did see a couple like contrarian facts, I feel like, on this one.
So I didn't look up the oldest park, but I'll tell you what my fact is on Lakemont Park in a second.
Okay. All right. That's a good build up. Thank you for that. The oldest one in the U.S. was in Bristol, Connecticut, which I feel like we should know because we're pretty close to it.
Yeah.
It was called Lake Compounce.
I hope it's not compost.
Compound.
Come on, you were killing the pronunciations, bro.
I got to America and I fell apart.
Weird how that works.
Yeah. That one opened in 1846 with the public being invited to weirdly like a scientist experiment with electricity.
Oh.
When did Ben Franklin roll around these streets?
I don't know. Sometime in the 1800s.
Yeah, we have no clue.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and for the next 2 years, it would just remain kind of a picnic ground until the attractions were added. These days, though, it has 44 rides, including 5 roller coasters. What was your fact? Hit me. What was this park you're speaking of?
Lakemont Park in Pennsylvania is actually home to the world's longest running roller coaster that's still in operation today.
Okay.
This roller coaster is called Leap the Dips, running since 1902.
Shit. Leap the disc?
Leap the Dips.
So that actually sounds scary. So like when it goes to dip, it jumps them?
I don't know. I didn't actually look up any video on this, but I don't know.
Did you know the difference between an amusement park and a theme park?
I would imagine a theme park is a specific theme like Disney or stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I never really thought about that until 35 minutes ago, maybe an hour. So, did you read where America's first theme park was?
No, I did not. Can I guess Disneyland 1955?
No, you are wrong. Um, it's kind of interesting, actually, Dante. So there was this place called, well, it's called Santa Claus, Indiana.
Huh.
Okay, and it was called this because initially it was not granted a post office because their original name was Santa Fe, Indiana, and because there was another place called Santa Fe, they weren't allowed to keep the name. So they changed their name to Santa Claus. And after they did this, the post office that they now have started receiving a lot of mail from people around the holidays to Santa.
Ah.
So this guy, Louis K. Koch, he purchased 260 acres of land to create a park, and he called it Santa Claus Land. It opened in 1946. It offered a toy shop, rides designed for kids, and daily appearances from Santa. And then in the 1980s, the park added Halloween and 4th of July, and it changed its name to Holiday World.
Huh.
Pretty woke, kind of ahead of its time.
Sure.
I think that they should put that on like the outside. It says like Holiday World, formerly Santa's Village or Santa's World. A little woke, but ahead of its time.
Or you can just simplify that to Holiday World, woke AF.
That'd be dope. That's actually just a good tagline for it, right?
Yeah.
In 1993, they actually opened up a water park, and it was called the Splashing Safari. Alliteration at its finest.
Sure.
To your point, you brought up. Well, I initially brought up Disney. You then brought it up again. They did start in 1955. So in the 1920s, Walt Disney had kind of had America fall in love with his characters, his cartoons, and then in 1951 he founded. Can you look this up? I never actually researched this. The WED. Just look up like Walt Disney WED. I don't know exactly what that. I just want to know what the acronym stands for.
Of course, it auto corrected me to wedding. WD Enterprises, Walt Disney Imagineering Architectural Group.
Okay, so it was an architectural group. So yeah, basically he creates this architectural group, and its objective was to create a theme park that captured the magic of his like film experience. So he travels the world, he researches, refines his vision, and he's working on funding. And then it opens in 1955 with a ton of people there in person. It did, in the first 10 weeks, they had 1 million viewers. And they even did a live broadcast on opening day that broke records for like live viewership of TV, which makes complete sense because there's probably only like 100. How many people had TVs at that point? They.
It was a rich man's thing at that time, huh?
Yeah, it must have been. Granted, the other part of this is what was the competition in town? Even if it was like millions of people had TVs, which I have no fucking clue. There was only like, remember TVs only had like 10 stations until fucking like the 70s or some shit, or 80s.
True.
I remember like my TV I had when I was in like the 90s you had like the A and B side, and it had like a dial.
The B side.
Yeah. So Disney initially they would charge a price for admission, and then they would charge a price for per ride in the park. They eventually switched over to the first of its kind. It was like a semi-inclusive package, and it was $250 for admission, and you got 8 rides included in that $2.50. Or so from there, Six Flags rolls around. Okay. Six Flags Over Texas opens up in 1961, and they had their theme was all around Texas history, which I found kind of interesting, but they had an all-inclusive price model. So you just paid for admission, and then the only other stuff similar to what we experience now that people paid for was food and like souvenirs.
Okay.
I
didn't know they started as a theme park.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because they are now, right? Like the one in Six Flags New England is very much Disney inspired.
Is it though?
Yeah, Dante. Their most popular rides are Batman ride, Disney ride. I mean, a Superman ride. Like they have a Nightwing rather ride. Like they have all.
Are either of those Disney though?
DC, I said.
Oh, okay.
DC. I slipped Disney after I said DC by accident. We're both coughing. Excuse us, viewers. I apologize. Yeah, so they had this all-inclusive price package. The interesting part for me here is the sections of the park, as far as themes are concerned, Dante, were built around the 6 cultures that shaped the state, so shaped Texas. These included Mexico, France, weirdly. Didn't know they got involved, but I guess they're right near Louisiana, which would have been French. The French Connection.
Okay.
That was pretty lit.
The French Quarter.
Also pretty good. The Confederacy, which is a little sussy. The constantly evolving American culture, which I just think's funny to put like maybe on a sign above a park.
Wait, that was just on the sign?
No, but that's what they like themed one of the areas around. Was like American culture itself. But it like the tagline in the article I was reading was the constantly evolving American culture, which is funnier. And then Texas itself. Six Flags now has 30 properties across all of North America. What are you into more? So actually, I should ask you this first. Do you like amusement parks?
Yes.
How about theme parks? Just to specify.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Okay. How do you have an idea how many you've been to in your life? I'll quickly
Uh,
count myself.
like 4. 5.
I'm at least 5. I don't know if I've been to like Busch Gardens or any of those ones. So mine would be Six Flags New England, Disneyland, Disney World, which I don't remember. Well, so it's Disney World's in Florida. I remember that one. Disneyland is in California. I was really young when I went there. Would you add SeaWorld into that too if I went to that when I was in California when I was a little
I
kid?
think that counts as a theme park.
Okay, so that's 4. I also just remembered I went to Universal Studios a different time when I went to Florida, so that's 5. And then I've been to Hershey Park, so at least. Oh, and then it's Canopy Lake Park, so 7.
So I counted 4. I got Six Flags, Canopy Lake Park, Water Country, and then apparently
Water Country 8. Sorry.
and then apparently the Stratosphere in Vegas counts as a amusement park.
Oh, okay. And I just remember 9 because I've also been to Water Whiz.
All right, big amusement park guy over here, huh?
Mostly, I think my mother was a thrill seeker. What are you more into, steel roller coasters or wooden roller coasters?
The wooden roller coasters always are sketchy. They like creak and clunk and make it feel like it's gonna fall apart. So I prefer steel roller coasters.
Yeah, I think I like wood roller coasters more, but I 100% agree with you that they are far more intimidating.
Like, what's
To
the one
be
at
on.
Six Flags that they
The
just closed down?
Colossus.
It was like the Thunder something.
Oh, yeah. I know which one you're talking.
It was
They had 2 there. They had the Thunder one and then the Colossus. I think is the other.
okay.
'Cause they have like 2 wooden roller coasters.
I
there,
know
I'm
they
pretty sure.
closed down the Thunder one like a few years back, but that one was the only wood roller coaster I can remember riding on, and that one was kind of sketch. It was good, but it was kind of sketch.
I think they're like you can't replicate the fear you have in a wooden roller coaster, like because you can see it like shifting when the carts are like going around it. You can see it like rocking around before you get on there, and you're like, "Well, this is gonna be fucking kind of crazy." And then they're just like seatbelts on a lot of them. I feel like it's not even like the bars that come down.
Yeah.
So steel roller coasters, though, interestingly enough, roller coasters themselves started taking kind of a downward spiral. It says in the Great Depression because like resources and things like that weren't so much available,
Hmm.
and it was actually Walt Disney who turned the tide because he opened the doors of Disneyland in Anaheim in July of '55, and he partners with a guy and he makes this bobsled style steel roller coaster called the Matterhorn. It's actually lists like 1959 for that. Yeah. So like shortly after they opened, about 4 years after they opened. It was a tubular steel reels with nylon wheels that expanded the possibilities of coaster designs. I took that directly from the article. In 1975, however, the first corkscrew roller coaster debuted at Knott's Berry Farm in California.
What's a corkscrew roller coaster?
So one that inverts.
Oh, like wine.
Exactly,
goes
like
upside down.
helix.
Gotcha.
This kind of changed the tides even further because it attracted the hang gliding and skydiving crew. So like thrill seekers, even further more thrill seekers. What I found myself thinking about those 2 particular groups is like, those are a niche now. what do you think that niche looked like in like 1975 as far as people actively seeking out jumping out of planes or hang gliding? And is hang gliding still a prevalent thing today? Like, do people actually? I mean, I know they do,
I
but
was gonna
like,
say define prevalent. Like I'm sure people still do it, but like
where like where in the world do you think people hang glide? Is like Hawaii, Brazil?
yeah, sure. I feel like anywhere with like a mountainous area where they can kind of get a good running start.
Would you hang glide?
Fuck no.
Would you rather hang glide or skydive? For the people out there as well.
I'd rather neither, but if I had to pick one, skydive.
I think I'm more into hang gliding.
I don't want to be up there that long.
I feel way safer holding on to something, I think.
No,
And
actually,
not
I
another
don't trust
man
my
holding
grip.
on to my hips as we fall from
They could have female instructors. Why are you being
Dante.
sexist?
They ain't partner us with female instructor. I
They
hate to
can't
break
reach
that to
around
you,
me.
brother. I think we actually don't meet the weight limit to be able to jump out of planes. I think we would have to lose some weight to jump out of a plane. I don't think they'd let us. Or you can't do it like tandem.
Well, then that's an excuse for me to never lose
Yeah, it's
weight.
an easy out. Just gonna keep eating cheeseburgers. In 1976, the first successful vertical loop, called the Great American Revolution, love that name. It debuted at Six Flags Magic Mountain. So a year later, a vertical loop, I assume, is just a true
you're
rotation
just like
over.
upside down loop, right?
They just call it the Revolution now. It is still open.
Hmm.
Interesting quote I found was from this guy, John Allen. He's the president of Philadelphia's Toboggan. I don't know exactly what that is, but he said, you don't need a degree in engineering to design roller coasters. You need a degree in psychology. Kind of cool, right?
No, I prefer they have a degree in both.
But I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
And he goes on to say a roller coaster is theatrically contrived as a Broadway play. So, like, everything in it is it's just playing on your fears and stuff. So it's more, are there rides when you go to an amusement park that you won't get on?
I'll pretty much ride any roller coaster at this point. It's the like spinny rides and shit that like deter me.
So I there's certain ones as far as like, as I've gotten older, I used to, when I was really young, I wouldn't go on anything for fucking roller coasters pretty much. I take that back. Like, I would go on the upside down ones. Really, the ones I didn't like were the ones that would just bring you straight up and then drop you. I still fucking hate those with a passion today.
I actually love those now.
Yeah? No, I'm good.
I used to also be terrified though, but you know, a while back my uncle took me to Six Flags and he made me get on every ride, even though I didn't want to.
Well, so that's what happened to me, funny enough. My uncle, when I was way younger, made me go on like the Mind Eraser at Six Flags. and like got me over the fear of going on the upside down ones. I don't really mind those. There are still ones I don't like. There's one at Six Flags now. You know, it's like the ones that go pull you backwards first and then release you, and you go through like the loops, go around, and then you go up the thing again and it pulls you up again and then it drops you the same way reverse.
I think you're talking about like the Goliath.
Yes, so I don't like that one. I don't fuck with that one
because that one like pulls you backwards like vertically.
Yeah, they have two that actually did that at Six Flags, but that's the newer, bigger version. Yeah, that's one I haven't gone on. If I had to, I would do it. I just, I'm not really into it personally. Not a big thing for me. But I love like the Batman ride there. Superman, that ride's fucking awesome. It doesn't go upside down, but that ride should be like the scariest one.
It's the Bizarro now, but the Superman did go upside down. That was the only modification, is the Superman used to go upside down.
Is it because somebody died?
Probably.
I mean, somebody definitely died on that ride.
Yeah. I remember that being the coolest one just because, like, right at the end of it, they had, like, the flamethrower that was shooting at you.
I think they still do. You ride through the mist, and then there's, like, a flamethrower.
No, I don't think the flamethrower is there anymore. At least it wasn't there the last time I went.
I wonder if somebody got burned to death, too. Do you have any interesting facts as far as, like, actual roller coasters are concerned for me? Anything?
I got a few. So our world's tallest roller coaster is 460 feet tall. It's called the King de Ka. I forgot to put down where it was. But it's also the fastest roller coaster in North America. So it is in North America. And it reaches a top speed of 128 miles an hour.
I'm just quickly trying to look up things that are 460 feet tall so I can understand how tall that is.
It actually was originally in meters, and I converted it to feet so
Okay,
that
what
you
are the
could comprehend.
Can you hit me with meters?
It was 140 meters.
Okay, none of these. Fuck. All right. Yeah, keep going. I'm gonna keep looking just to give people an idea what we're looking at here.
Gotcha. I also have Ferrari World in Abu Dhabi. Is home to the Formula Rossa, which is the world's fastest roller coaster, going from 0 to 150 miles an hour in just 5 seconds.
How fast?
0 to 150 miles an hour in 5 seconds.
How fast does a car go to 0 to 60?
I mean, your average car goes 0 to 60 in probably like 7 or 8 seconds.
So it would take them 16 seconds to 20 seconds in theory to get to that speed?
Yeah, I mean, your average passenger car can't even reach 150 miles an hour.
Did you say you had gone to Disney World?
No, never.
Okay. You've been to Florida a bunch, that's weird. So Disney World has it's like called Test Drive, and it's like a racetrack, and it's a car that drives you around a racetrack really fast. Side note.
Segueing to Disney. Disney is where Doritos were invented.
Oh. Who would have thunk it?
Shortly after Disneyland opened in 1955, one of its restaurants created Doritos in an effort to reduce waste and repurposing unused tortillas.
What one was the first kind of Dorito? Is it nacho cheese?
Probably.
Nacho cheese.
It's nachos.
Cool Ranch guy here.
Yeah.
The only form of ranch I like.
Yeah, no, I hate ranch, but I like Cool Ranch Doritos.
I've always been really confused by myself with that.
What's the purple bag of Doritos, too?
I don't know. I don't need it. Spicy nacho.
Yeah, I think so.
Whatever. I got it.
I like that.
Why
one.
did I know that?
And my last fact here that I have is the tallest amusement park in the world is the Stratosphere in Las Vegas. It is 1,149 feet in the air.
So is that the one that they just like the roller coaster sends you off the side of the building, but then you go back onto it?
Yeah.
You did that.
Yeah.
I would never do that.
It also has the Big Shot, which is basically like their version of the Scream from Six Flags. It's like the elevator that shoots you up and then drops you down.
So I can do the ones that shoot you up.
I can't do those.
I can't do the one that brings you up there, makes you sit there, and then
launches you off the edge.
Yeah. I have like amusement park rides are kind of in my my Instagram algorithm for a multitude of reasons. But the most PC one I can give you is there was this guy. I don't want to get into it.
I can't help it. I'm curious. How is amusement parks not PC?
I don't want to get into it, dude.
Whatever, dude.
It's like it's a tough one to describe. I don't even know how it happened that it got into my algorithm. I really don't want to talk about it. Anywho, this one, it is like this guy he has the people all the way at I think he starts at the top with them, so you get on at the top and then it drops you.
Okay.
And on the thing, he'll be like, "Oh no, I think like something's not working correctly or whatever."
Oh, I did see these videos. Yeah.
And he'll like he'll be like kind of looking around, like he'll be like, "No, just give me a second, you're fine." And he'll like step away from the thing, and all of a sudden they'll just drop.
Yeah.
And like that would fuck me up.
Yeah, I remember seeing those. Like one of the ones I remember is just like, "Oh shit, dude, your seatbelt." Doom.
See you later.
Drops.
The problem I have, right, is like I can do the ones that you start on the ground and they send you straight up and then you just do the thing, right?
Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
Because
that's a very PC hand motion.
Yeah. Because I don't have time to think about it. But when they do the one where you like they slowly bring you up to the top and then you sit there 100 feet in the air and I have to just like look around and wait for it to happen, I fucking hate that. I hate it with a passion.
Also, you know, that goes right back to where you made the comment about they need a psychology degree to design roller
That's what that is.
Like,
yeah.
It's building up your anxiety.
Yeah, like I don't think that's like, I know I'm not gonna fucking die. Although I went on this one when I was in California. I don't like. I was like on a pier and they had like the rides on it, kind of like Coney Island deal, I suppose. And I remember going up, and when we hit the apex of like the shooting you up into the air, the guard like on my chest loosened.
Mm.
It like popped. You know how it has like the two levels of lockdown?
Like click click.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it unlocked from the first one and went out to the second one. It has the seatbelt thing still locked in, so I wasn't going anywhere, but I couldn't stay in my fucking seat. And I was only on the first first time I went up. So each time I went up, like following that, I was like 2 feet out of my fucking chair. And it traumatized me. I'd like,
Jesus Christ. No wonder you hate roller coasters.
Yeah. Do you have the other things I asked you for? The longest lazy river?
Our longest lazy river in the world is in Waco, Texas.
You ain't burning that bitch down.
It's called the Waco Surf Lazy River, and it measures up to be 5,280 feet long, which is exactly 1 mile.
Holy shit.
But it's somehow only 3 feet deep.
Now, you can't swim, but you fuck with lazy rivers, right?
I mean, I just said it's only 3 feet deep. Yeah, I'll fuck with that. I could stand up in that bitch.
Dude, I love lazy rivers. I also, like, this summer I want to go to, like, have you ever heard of, like, Saco River?
No, what's that?
It's just, like, a cool little spot. It's, I think it's in Maine. But you basically, it's just like a lazy river, but it's like a actual thing where people go and like drink, like you just float down the river and I'll drink.
Oh hell yeah!
And
Sick.
they have like kind of natural like rock slides that you can go down. I think.
Okay.
I don't need to do that part, but I just like the idea of casually like sitting in a river, floating down on tubes, just like drinking. That's kind of lit.
That's sick. Let's squat up this summer.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
The other one you asked me to look up. Well, what is our largest wave pool in the world?
Ooh, fun one.
It is Wave Palace in Siam Park, located in Bangkok. It is
Is it large to scale because it can fit a? Never mind,
dude. It's 146,000 square feet.
That sounds like it's big.
Yeah, it's big.
How big do the waves get? Did it say?
Oh damn, I didn't look that up.
Because like the bigger the wave pool, the bigger the waves. I have to assume, right?
Sure.
Wave pools can be unrelenting, by the way. You can't go in them, actually, right?
Probably not. I mean, like
you would die. Actually,
there is shallow ends to wave pools.
Yeah, but it's not fun there. Like you're not getting the cool waves. The whole thing with a wave pool is you try to stay at the deepest point the longest time possible, and inevitably you just end up almost dying. It's gonna be the worst possible place for you.
Why is that fun?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Okay.
Don't really have a good answer for you on that. But I think it's the thrill, right? The thrill and the agony. Okay. Did you ever see the ride at Six Flags, or it's the water slide at Six Flags that it drops you straight down? I think it was called Jumanji.
The Geronimo.
Geronimo, yeah, you're right. Jumanji.
I think that's actually Water Country.
Yes. Did you ever do that one?
Yes.
That one fucks me up. I did that once.
So you know what? That one scared me because, when you're at the top of it, they're like coaching you on how to go down. You're supposed to keep your arms and legs crossed. And I remember as soon as I went over the edge, I felt my back lifting off. And so I freaked out and flailed and basically came off the drop. So I was free falling and didn't catch till it like swung back out.
Yeah. That's why that one is scary. There's also one that's like that is, you're in like a container and you can't see anything and then the floor falls out and you drop onto the slide.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've been on that one.
Cool. So yeah, let us know what you think of amusement parks or theme parks. What's your favorite one? How many have you been to? What's your favorite rides? Have you ever had any terrifying, scary experiences? Did we miss any of the craziest facts about theme parks? I'd love to learn more. But now let's move on to more of the pop culture entertainment world, shall we? We are, of course, going to be getting into a Fast 10 conversation, review, spoilers, all that stuff. But first, I wanted to hit a couple of interesting pop culture news. Oh, do I want to do this reverse? Yeah, no, we'll go with these first.
Huh.
So interesting news, Dante. I read this today. They're working on a sequel to the movie Twister. Have you ever seen that movie?
It's a twister. It's a twister.
Is that a yes?
Yeah.
Well, you can never be sure with you, dude. Do you remember it?
The only scene I remember was when the cow ended up in the tornado.
Okay.
But like, yeah,
So
I saw it.
so they're making a sequel to that movie. It's gonna be called Twisters
Oh,
because one wasn't enough. Uh,
Twisters back with a vengeance.
and it's gonna star Glenn Powell.
Don't know what that is.
Did you see Top Gun?
Yes.
The asshole pilot in Top Gun.
Ah, gotcha.
This guy to me right now is on like a weird like Chris Pratt type ascension in Hollywood. Maybe like I say Chris Pratt only because of like his, I guess, more of his aesthetic than anything. But he's got a movie coming out with Sydney Sweeney that's pretty hyped right now. That's like a rom-com. And then he's got like this kind of thing. I just think he's turning into quite the it actor that you're going to be seeing a lot more of in the near future. Okay, don't get all horned up over there looking up Sydney Sweeney, bro.
I just want to know what movie it was.
Yeah, I don't know the name of it, but I'm going to see it as a rom-com. You find it?
It's called Anyone But You.
Ah, heartbreaker. It doesn't come out till like September, I feel like.
December 2023.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like this movie's getting a ton of hype already now because like the whole rumor is that like him and his fiance broke up or were gonna break up because of the chemistry that he has with her. And like whenever you see them together, they get all like horned up for each other to the point where I think there's a picture of them while filming the movie. They're in like bathing suits on a boat, and he's clearly like 6 to midnight filming like the makeout scene with her. Which I get. I feel like that must happen a lot in Hollywood. Also this week, there was a rumored 10 episodes of an Alien vs. Predator animated series that has been locked away, thrown away, no key, without the key. We'll never see it. Like Fox is like, yeah, it's not coming out.
So why would we rumor it?
That's I don't fucked know. Up. And that's something I'd really like to watch. I love Alien. I love Predator. I liked Alien vs. Predator. Didn't like Alien vs. Predator Requiem very much. But I would definitely watch a series of it. This one's kind of for you, Dante. Netflix is going to begin cracking down on account sharing. They're adding a $7.99 charge when you add a profile to your account or add another user to your account that doesn't live in your household.
Huh.
Yeah. So you ain't watching Netflix anymore, huh?
That's whack.
Do you think so? Because I think that's probably been an abused feature for a very long time.
It was one of the things that made it worth paying $20 a month for that shit.
Yeah, that would be my one gripe. But then I would say loophole, right? You just divide out the cost. So it's like if 4 of you throw in, that's $20.
If each profile is $8, like it's just not going to divide out as well.
28.
Are you gonna
34. 42.
You good?
42 divided by 4 ends up being like $10 and something, right?
Or no, $10.50.
Yeah, that's way better now.
I mean, sure, yeah.
So you just got to get 3 of the homies and just keep adding accounts. It'll become cost effective again to have a Netflix account. I really don't understand how they're going to police this. Because like they said that you will still be able to use it obviously to like travel and things, because it all comes back to like I understand IP address is like an easy way to track this, right? But what about like when you use your phone or a tablet or a computer?
I imagine the loophole would just be people will just start using a shared profile. It sucks because you won't have any of your progress on like your TV shows and shit you're watching, but like that'd be the loophole.
I think they have to have more to track this than just that. I only read one article on it. So I saw a Twitter like thread about it, and then I verified by going and like actually looking for it. And I guess this was something they kind of announced back in like February that they were going to start moving this direction.
Yeah.
The last little bit of pop culture before we get into the fast conversation. Jackie Chan's in talks to return for Karate Kid.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Jaden Smith too?
They didn't mention him. You want to look that up real quick? I hope so. Although his acting career is done. Are you a fan of his music, Dante?
I mean, I was at a point, but not like a huge fan.
Top 3 favorite Jaden Smith songs. And you can say whip your hair back and forth is one of them if you need to.
That's Willow Smith.
Don't care. We can include it.
The only one I can actually remember is Icon, but I did like that song.
Okay, so we have to include whip your hair back and forth.
But then I don't have a third.
Fuck. He probably did a song for the Karate Kid, so we can just say the Karate Kid song.
Huh.
Did it say he's coming back?
Yeah. Or at least there's an article saying he might be.
Jaden?
No, I'm sorry. Jackie.
Brother, I already knew that Jackie was.
Crap.
I had already announced that.
All right.
I broke that news on this podcast with you minutes ago.
It wasn't even a whole minute. Oh, man.
All right, let's move on. Can you, because I don't think he is, can you marry, fuck, kill these three
No.
Jaden Smith
No.
movies for me? You have to. The Karate Kid, fuck, what's the name of the one with Will Smith? Oh, Pursuit of Happiness, After Earth. MFK, those three movies.
What's After Earth?
It's the one
don't think
about
I saw that
Scientology with Will Smith in it. It's rated one of the worst movies of all time.
Cool, kill that one.
Okay. I mean, you, all right.
And then we'll fuck Karate Kid. It's good for the one time, one night stand, you know. And we'll marry Pursuit of Happiness.
I think you are pretty accurate on the way you would rate this. After Earth, just so everybody knows, on Rotten Tomatoes has a score of 12%.
Yo, Bailey.
Bailey just threw up the idea. Oh, wow.
All right, we're all a little fucked up. You're coughing up hairballs. We're coughing. I'm sneezing.
After Earth is on Netflix. If anybody was wondering where they could watch that film classic, but yeah, 12%. I think you were pretty accurate in the way most people would go. You murder After Earth. You fuck Jackie Chan in The Karate Kid, and then you definitely marry. Like Will Smith is a marryable man in The Pursuit of Happiness. I saw that movie in the theaters. I think I might have teared up a little. I was in the same row as Deval Patrick, former governor of Massachusetts. Weird fact.
Fun fact.
Weird flax.
Flax seeds.
Flax. Yeah, but that's the last I have of that. Before we get into Fast, you wanted to join a set in this podcast, right?
Like a studio, like filming set?
No, gang. You want to join a gang?
No gang affiliations. No.
No, you.
Nah.
Before you hopped on the pod, you said we thought we should become an affiliated pod. We are already affiliated. We're nerd affiliated on this pod.
We're not gang affiliated though.
But we're not gang affiliated. Damn. All right.
We're not doing that, dude.
Well, gang is kind of a pseudonym for family. And this week we're talking family again, Dante.
King of the segues. I love it.
We're talking Fast 10. We both saw it last Thursday.
Yeah, I made it.
Yeah, thank you. So actually, for context, Dante missed the first 10 minutes.
Was it 10 minutes?
It was roughly less, maybe a few minutes less than that, but it was about 5 to 10 minutes you missed. From this point on, spoilers. I don't want to filter. I just want to talk. I want to talk freely.
Yeah.
I'll put in where you can hop back in later on. We have some like little spin-off talk and stuff like that we might get into that maybe you can be involved if you did want to hear, if you wanted to skip this part with the spoilers. But yeah, first off, how'd you feel coming out of the movie, Dante?
I was actually pleasantly satisfied with the movie. I think I went in with maybe a little bit too low of expectations. But it made it so I could come out enjoying it a lot more.
What do you think was the reason for your low expectations? Was it 9 being not great, or was it the rankings we did last week where you were like, wait, I've never seen any of these movies?
I just feel like the overall feel has been like these movies have been on a decline, and this was refreshing.
I tend to, so it's tough when you say decline because it's all personal preference. I totally get that. But I think arguably the middle of this franchise was its peak. And so in a way it declines in the sense that if five's the best, which you didn't think, but if five's the best, anything after that could in theory be a decline. But I think realistically the only one that is that far off of quality from the rest of them is 9.
Yeah.
Like I think that 9 was the only one that truly felt like it stepped outside of something I enjoyed in this franchise. And yeah, like you, I came out of this very, very happy. Like this is the way I felt coming out of 6 and 7 and 8. 7 maybe not as much, but like 6 and 8, and I felt disappointment walking out of 9. Nine's been one I've had trouble going back and rewatching. This movie I won't have any trouble rewatching. This movie is what, like, to me, a fast movie realistically should be.
And remember, before we watched the movie, we were giving our opinions on how we felt Momoa's character was going to be in this movie.
Oh, we're going to get there, my friend. We are going to get there. But for starters, what you missed at the beginning, and what I do enjoy that they've done this in the past. The biggest the one I remember them doing this with was Letty dies in 4, and the way they bring her back in 6, and they kind of recreate the scene of her dying. You know what I'm talking about there?
Yeah.
You do you remember this actually?
No.
Okay.
But I know what you're talking about.
So he like in 4 you see the car flip and all that stuff. They do this also with Han dying. So in Tokyo Drift you have the scene of Han's car flipping and him dying, right? And then when you get to the end of 6, you see the reverse of the car. You see the other side, which is Jason Statham killing him, right? Like this way that they take what they've already filmed years ago. They did that again with 10. They bring you back to the beginning of 5. And there's a scene in the bank prior to them robbing the vault that you see in 5, but now you get a different perspective on that scene. And the perspective now is Jason Momoa's character, which is the son of whatever his name is, the villain.
Oh, cool. So I did see that part. It was in the trailer.
Yes. That part itself was... Yeah, was that in the trailer? Like, I guess, yeah.
It was, when they ripped out the safe and he was standing behind it.
Yeah. So that, you get a little bit more than that, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Then you have him driving through the streets going after Dom and the family, but you didn't know that he was in one of those cars.
That was also in the trailer.
Okay. Well, I think the good thing for me and why I come out of these movies being happy is I saw this trailer once.
Yeah.
I saw it before like Shazam or one of those things. And I loved the trailer. But yeah, I think I got pleasantly surprised by a lot of this. From there, you kind of move into the plot of the movie, the thick of stuff. You reintroduce Charlize Theron, who I really enjoy again. And you get, like, we can get into this. Now you have Momoa slowly, I mean, I guess not so much slowly, because from jump he's pretty much introduced it as the main villain of this movie, and he's consistently in it the whole way through. They never brought back the grandmother, Abuela, right? Wasn't that a little weird to like
they did
put her in the beginning? I just thought about this right now. She's in the we meet Dom and Mia's grandmother at the beginning of this movie, and she's never reintroduced again. Why bring her into this?
I'm sure there'll be some significance later. Remember, this is a 3-part.
I thought she was going to die.
Nobody dies.
I thought it would have been like when they have their little family dinner at the beginning of the movie, their little cookout. It would have been great if she just got... I thought when she was toasting, she also drank a Corona. I love that.
Yeah, no, I definitely chuckled at that too when she toasted the Corona, and I was like, man, Dom really sticks to that one.
Yeah. I thought she was going to get like shot, and that's how they were going to like set things off with this.
Damn.
Yeah.
I thought Johnny Tran was going to come back and light it up.
Yeah, like this drive-by. But yeah, so I was obviously last week very, very harsh on Momoa.
Can you at least say his name right now?
Yeah, Jason Momoa. I was very harsh. It was tough, right? Because we actually released our last week pod after we saw the movie. And so I was like re-listening to what we said, and I was like, well, this probably didn't age well in retrospect. Yeah, he was... I'm having trouble complimenting him a bit because like I don't want to be a prisoner to the moment on the performance, but he carries a large majority of why this movie I think ends up being as enjoyable as it is,
I
right?
fully agree with that, and I don't think it's a prisoner of the moment. I think he was a great bad guy.
I think what it comes down to is like what is the major differentiator in this movie, and I think
I
it
think
does a lot of the common tropes of a fast movie, but now you have a premier actor in a villainous role that like lived up to the task.
well, I think they changed up the formula of their bad guy. You know, up until nine, all your bad guys were just angry people that were always super serious and brooding and plotting and whatever. And he's a lot more fun and energetic, and it gives a different perspective to the bad guy.
Yeah, this movie definitely takes a lot of its themes from other. It's inspired by a lot of different places, right? Because I think you watch his performance and it definitely reminds you of like a Heath Ledger Joker comes through in a lot of it, right? Like how the sociopathic tendencies of the
Yeah,
character.
yeah, very much.
You watch the movie itself, and Vin Diesel has said it like this movie is very much so inspired by what the Marvel franchise has been able to do with Infinity War and Endgame. And I think you watch this movie and you very much so can see the sentiment of that being where this was inspired. And we don't need to get into the major plot points like throughout the movie, but yeah, I think having a villain like this, getting the family completely back together, um, it all just kind of plays really really well. And yeah, because you have to have that villain carry the role there, and he eats up a lot of scenery, and he chews through a lot of the scenery too. Like the a lot of people I've talked to have talked about the scene of him with the two dead guys and like painting their nails and like
I
talking to them.
loved that scene. I thought it was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, like that's been I think a very positive scene for a lot of people, right? And I think his unrelentingness of as a bad guy, always kind of having the answer for Dom, always looking at the next step, all played out really really well. The other characters that were added into this movie, I don't think play quite as well, if I'm being critical. I think that the worst acting performance in a fast movie takes place in this movie.
Oh,
The scene with Alan Richardson's character, or Rickinson, whatever his name is, the big brawny guy that they've replaced The Rock with for the moment,
yeah,
and Brie Larson's character.
yeah.
Uh, their little scene inside of like this black room with like people up on monitors all around them. That's also like the same room that I'm pretty sure is in one of the Resident Evil movies, and it's all like Alice's around them in the movie. Neither way, neither here nor there. But they're acting in that. It was probably like the first day they had ever met. They have no chemistry with each other, and it's the most wooden lack of emotion. Like it was just bad. I thought the dialogue was terrible. It was the one of the cringier scenes in a fast movie I've seen, and it's just like 3 minutes of dialogue.
Mm.
From there, I think their characters get a bit better. Like I said, his character being kind of the police representation for the movie. His trip to Brazil reminded me of The Rock arriving in Brazil in Fast Five, and that's what it was intended to do. And The Rock isn't like an amazing actor either, so I can give a
Yeah.
little bit of a pass there. And I think the characters do get better as the movie progresses. Him more than Brie Larson. I don't think Brie Larson's character ever really like goes anywhere for me. Did you feel the same way on both of them?
Yeah, I didn't really get too much out of it. I kind of was just waiting for her dad to come back.
She's there for one purpose and one purpose only to me. And this will be my first part of the rumor mill that's come from this movie. For a long time now, they've talked about there being a female led spinoff to the Fast franchise.
Mm.
And people, if you don't want, I'm gonna drop a pretty big spoiler here. If we look at the way this movie played out, right? You have Charlize Theron, who is probably a top 5 female action star at this point for like the past 20 years.
I'll give you that.
You have Michelle Rodriguez, who I think can also lay claim to that kind of. She's not a leading actress in a lot of her movies, but she is consistently a go-to in the action movie realm.
And I think a lot of that strength comes from this franchise.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. You also then add in a character like Brie Larson, and that's where I see her being in this movie for that reason. is that it gives you those three ladies, and then you add in the fourth being Gal Gadot coming back, right? So you have these four very recognizable female characters, and I do the math and I say, well, that's your female core that you're going to do a spin-off with now, right?
That makes sense because they obviously want to keep this train going.
Mm-hmm. And you think about the way they set it up at the end. Even if you did it like how they did with Hobbs and Shaw, and it's just Gal Gadot and Charlize Theron, right? If the Michelle Rodriguez or something doesn't want to stick around for it, I didn't even bring up Jordana Brewster, Mia, being another one that you can always include if you needed to. Like there are other female characters. Also, what's her name? Game of Thrones chick, the one that's like the computer girl with the
Oh
hair.
yeah. I know who you're talking about. I don't know her name.
Yeah, like you also have her. Like they do have strong female performances in these movies that you can definitely lean on, and I think I just look at what they've kind of done there, and bringing in Brie Larson, I think was a strategic move to be able to use her recognizable name to now spin off with.
They just wanted to add another character to add to the spinoff.
Yeah, yeah, and that's not a problem, but like, why didn't they bring back what's his name? No name,
Mr. Nobody.
Yeah, there we go. Like I feel like he'll arrive in the other movies, but yeah, that's kind of what I saw happening there. Where do you think the action in this movie stacks up against the other ones?
So I mean, for me, like this franchise has become a lot of like physics be gone. Like they just it's so much bullshit stunts. And in the grand scheme of thing, I feel like they kind of scaled it back a little bit. Obviously, they still have their bullshit, but it felt like it led back to a lot more of just enjoying the action and not having to get the oh my god factor out of it.
I cannot say that they scaled this back.
Like I said, there were still some bullshit stunts.
I could go through like 5 or 6 of them.
How do you rev your engine and pull down a helicopter? I don't know, but
it's not even just that. I like drove down a damn
yeah. Yeah.
He does the car, like they jump from car to car again with like that weird like CGI slow motion. Like the only problem when they do that, and like goes back to the 6th movie when he catches Michelle Rodriguez across the highway.
Bridge,
yeah. Like it's bad CGI in the sense that the characters look kind of like bendy, like rubbery.
I think I said it to you during the movie. I think the CGI was horrible in this.
Yeah, I think the scene you brought up was probably the worst CGI in the movie. For the most part, it didn't bother me very much.
But like that was like the worst CGI I've seen. Like
no, they're traditionally very bad CGI. And you say that to me, and I keep telling you, go watch the second movie. The CGI in the second movie.
Okay, but when did the second movie come out?
I don't give a shit. You can't say it's the worst in the franchise if there are other movies that I can quickly point to.
They've shown they can do good CGI. Like
then put parameters around your rules. Don't say it's the worst in the franchise. Say it's the worst in the last couple movies.
Fine.
Because if you're gonna tell me I can't say, well, the second movie has terrible CGI in it.
That was also 20 years ago.
Yes, same franchise. Same fucking franchise.
Like in the 7th movie, they did decent CGI with recreating Paul Walker, but like in this, they got lazy with the CGI.
I mean, the recreation of Paul Walker wasn't really a recreation either, like because his brother looks like a lot like him, so they really just had to kind of like tweak his face a little bit, and he's barely in it. That's an interesting spot to take us to here. I wish that they would move on from the Brian O'Connor character, and I understand that's hard because he still wants the sister role to be involved in the movie, and I say he, I mean Vin Diesel, right? Dom Toretto wants Mia Toretto to still be involved in it. Could go against the family idea a bit, to have her not involved.
I don't think they can uphold the ending of 7 without writing her off.
Every time she's back and has to make an excuse for why Brian's not there, is just them like having to like it's hammering a square peg into a circle hole, It's like it sticks out like a sore thumb every single time. They have to be like, yeah, I'm gonna go check on Brian and the kids, whenever these bad things are happening, because we all know why you're doing that, and we're willing to accept it because it's hard, right? Like he died out of nowhere, and they want to honor his memory, but like it takes you out of the movie a bit to the idea that he still exists in this universe and wouldn't be there but she is there. That doesn't make sense. Like, so
Yeah.
she shouldn't, like, they should have found a way. Like, whether it be that, like, he ends up on, like, undercover jobs and, like, that's why he can't, but, like, to say he's off with the family when you're at a family barbecue with, like, the grandmother and she's got the time to be there, but the kids aren't there.
Yeah.
Like, that's so weird to me, right? And it just kind of takes me out of the movie a bit whenever they bring him back up. And I just wish they had found a way to write him out in 7 and that was the end of the character rather than having to constantly find a reason to bring him back.
I personally love the way they wrote him out in 7. I think it was the best way to do it. I just think the toughest part is like then
Keeping
they
him
figured
gone.
out they had to keep Jordana Brewster.
Yeah. And she was gone for 8, but she pops back up in 9 because of her relationship to John Cena, who was very good in this movie. I thought he was a bright spot personally,
Yeah.
and I don't think that's my bias shining through on that one. Like I think he was serious in 9 and he wasn't good. Right? Like he's not a good serious actor.
No, but then when you see like his comedy side of things, like he's a lot more entertaining.
His best roles in Hollywood have been comedic timing.
Yeah.
And in this movie, he's very much the peacemaker character.
I can see that, yeah.
Right? Like he's very much that.
They're all
character
superheroes, so yeah.
So I think this was a good moment, but yeah, they had to bring her back in the last one, and now I feel like you have to just keep using her. But she just it kind of took me out of the movie a little bit when she was involved. I did think her fighting like scene was pretty good in the house, as was his.
Yeah.
Like his was like very over the top, obviously, but like we said, like these are superhero movies. They're not regular people anymore. When people bring up the robbing like DVDs and DVD players and shit like that, like yeah, that was what that movie was. But they have been superhero movies since 5 on, basically now.
Yeah. What you guys didn't know is they were radioactive DVD players.
Yeah, and they would have destroyed the world.
This is where their powers came from.
Yeah. So I loved all of that stuff. As we kind of progress through things, and we'll speed along a little bit, we've kind of I don't want to beat the movie to death, especially since I don't want people to not go see it because they've heard me spoil all of it. What do you think as far as where they've left us? As far as as of right now, the rumor is that we're getting 3 movies.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, again, spoilers, people. If you don't want to know what happens in the pivotal moments of this movie, time codes are there. Skip past it because I'm going to talk about the end of the movie.
Yeah.
We get to the end, right? And basically, it's been check or checkmate to this point with every turn that Dom makes, and he thinks he's getting ahead of Jason Momoa's character. Do you have his name? What's his name?
Dante.
Whenever shit, I should have forgot that. My bad, brother. So whenever he's kind of getting ahead of Dante, or feels like he is, there's always an answer, right? And the end of this movie ends with Alan. I don't know if it would be if it's pronounced Richardson or Rickton. Help me out.
I got to see the spelling.
So there's like a weird T in there.
Alan Richardson.
All right, I think that might be pronounced wrong.
How'd you get Rickinson? Like,
I'm pretty sure I've heard it pronounced differently, but you're probably right. Richardson. Either way, he's been playing a good guy throughout most of the movie. Swerve, he's actually aligned with Dante. And what you find out is in the flashbacks that you got to 5, there was another person that was in the bank that day. And that's where they both met, and they've been aligned for years now together, 10 years or whatever it is. So you've got Dom cornered. They shoot down the plane that has the whole team in it. So you're left to believe that they're gone. Dom gets away, drives down a dam, like we mentioned. But then Dante's like, I'm done with this shit. I'm going to blow up the dam. And you're left to believe that there's no way out for anybody. And that's where I say you can see the inspiration of Infinity War into Endgame.
That's the snap.
Is you're left right now with Dom kind of on his own, under the interpretation that his family's gone. You do have the I didn't talk about this, but Letty and Charlize Theron have been on their own through this whole movie pretty much, and they have a really, really good I really enjoyed their fight sequence.
Yeah.
That is one thing I think this movie's missing a bit of, is I wish there was more hand-to-hand combat in it, and I'm fine. It's the car movie, it's the blowing up, the explosions, guns, it's that stuff.
I think they gave
But
us a good amount of it in this one.
there's more of that in this, I suppose. But that was something that Brian, Paul Walker's character, I thought always added a good amount to. Is he is a person who practiced martial arts in real life, and I thought you could really see that when he had his hand to hand combat in these movies. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you
I thought
love this fight
Michelle.
with Vince.
Yes. But Vin Diesel and I mean not Vin Diesel, fucking Michelle Rodriguez and Charlize Theron have a great fight, I think, in it. But you're left with them kind of off on their own, and there's only so many people left, and you're left with this kind of like moment of what's next, right? So what do you how do you feel coming out of the end of the movie? With there being a second and a third, do you think a second and a third are necessary? Do you think there should only be a second?
I mean, with the way they ended it, you need a second. When I came out of the movie, like I said, I enjoyed the movie a lot, but I was also pissed off with how many cliffhangers they left us on, considering the fact that this is a movie, and I looked it up, and we're not rumored to get the next installment for 2 years.
Yeah, that is a tough turnaround, right? But where you say 2 years, it's more like when in 2025 are they rumoring it?
I didn't get a when in
Because
2025.
I'm only saying that to say we're halfway through 2023 already, right? And before you know it, like you're in 2024 and they're dropping a trailer in like the spring.
Yeah,
Does it give a month?
still no, it
No.
doesn't give a month. It just says 2025. But I mean, even if it is the spring, that's still 2 years from now.
The elephant in the room that we haven't talked about, we spoiled the Gal Gadot comeback prior to the movie coming out, and I referenced this last week on the pod, but I didn't talk about the character. It had been spoiled for me that the Rock was making his return to the franchise, which is really interesting for obvious reasons. The biggest one being that it was said to have been I mean, we watched the fallout kind of happen between Vin Diesel and the Rock hating each other in public, but we also had the fallout of Tyrese and the Rock had like a pretty public spat, and it seemed as though he was kind of just going to go off on his own. And there's a lot of like rumors and thoughts around why he's returning to the franchise. I think for one, it just wouldn't be appropriate to end, if this is in theory the last three movies that you're going to do, to not include his character would not be right to the franchise. And kind of along the same lines as to the Paul Walker character, hard to explain to me how it wouldn't make sense that he would show up in these moments, right? When the world's kind of at its end, when he is an accepted member of the family within the world of these movies, that he wouldn't show up to help. Yeah, and I get like they could explain it by he's off doing more important shit, and you could give us a Hobson Shaw too, and explain it away in some ways. But I'm glad that they're not, and I'm glad that he's coming back. The other side of this is professionally, The Rock is not who he was 3 years ago. His movies are not as successful. I think Black Adam took a toll on his sellability in Hollywood, and I can't tell you a standalone Rock movie that I've seen in some time. Can you pull up his IMDb for me and just go through his past, like, I don't know, 5 to 7 roles? Because I couldn't tell you the last time that he wasn't in a Fast movie that I've found him to be enjoyable as far as his movies. Red Notice was actually decent. Now that I've actually seen that, yeah, Red Notice is decent. But then you look, it's a Jumanji or something like that, probably, right?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Jumanji, Journey 2, Moana.
Well, those aren't the Journey 2 wasn't his most recent.
No.
That was like years and years ago.
He voiced Crypto in DC League of Super Pets.
Nope.
Yeah, you got Red Notice, Free Guy, Jungle Cruise.
Free Guy's not his movie.
He was in it.
Yeah, so Jungle Cruise is bad. Black Adam, bad. Red Notice, it's a Netflix movie. Like it's good, but it's a Netflix movie. It's not. He is not the boss. Like this guy was the highest grossing actor in Hollywood for a couple of years, off the back of these movies, right?
Yeah.
He's not that anymore, and I think he needs to kind of get that shine back. And I think coming back to the franchise that made him that guy, because make no bones about it, like the reason he turned into the action star he was, The Rundown is great. Walking Tall is great. Like he was a good action star before the Fast movies, but the thing that made him the Hollywood superstar as far as these movies selling was his performance in Fast Five, is this franchise. So tying himself to it further is going to keep himself in that relevant space, right? Now, the thing is, can we keep egos in check and everything? And I'll give credit to our guy, Tom, about his idea for the second movie. And I tend to think that this would be, for me, the most ideal way to do it. If I think you leave the cliffhanger where it is for right now with Dom and the rest of the team. What you find out in the end of this is Jacob has moved on to Hobbs, the other half of the people who killed his father, and his new target is Hobbs. I
You
think
said Jacob?
yeah, Jacob's sorry, that Dante. Jacob is John Cena's character. Um, Dante. I just that name. It's something gross about it.
What? Bro. The only way I can take that is as disrespect.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, you find out that Dante's character is now set his sights on Hobb because he's the one who's actually pulled the trigger to kill his dad. The other part of the equation is Shaw. Shaw, because one of the people on the that he was on the board for who Dante would go after was his mother. He's gone to now protect his mother, right? Kate Blanchett. Wrong.
No,
We
it
did
was
this already.
Heidi or Harry Morris or something.
No, Helen Mirren.
Helen Mirren.
Helen Mirren. Sorry, I get the like James Duty Gent. I get like three of them confused all the time. Yeah, Helen Mirren. So I think you basically get a Hobbs and Shaw 2 out of the second part of this movie, and a large majority of it should follow those two characters interacting with now Jacob, right? And somewhere around the third act is where you find out what happens to Dom. And then you have a third movie where you bring all of the pieces back together. Now you have your end game. The third movie is where you reunite. Because I think the way you play it and the way you sell a third movie is I don't think you should see Vin Diesel and The Rock together in the movie at the same time until the third movie. What do you think?
Gives them enough time to sort out their differences. And I mean,
I think their differences are already sorted out. And even Vin Diesel came back and it's like, I'm happy to have him back in the family.
Okay.
He wouldn't have done the post credit for this with the plan of doing the other movies if that wasn't moved on. I just think for progressing the storyline and making this an exciting climax to this franchise, I think you keep them apart because
I mean, I also agree with that just because I think if you carry this cliffhanger into the third movie, that's what makes it so people have to see the third movie. They want it to be 3 movies. That's the way they do it.
Mm-hmm. And I think Hobbs and Shaw, a second team up of them, is sellable, right? The Rock under the Fast banner, adding Jason Statham in there. You can bring back Statham's brother in this too, with the combination of like what you have with Momoa. Like that is going to sell a movie by itself. You don't need to have if Vin Diesel can take his ego out of it a little bit and not feel the need to just like put himself across this whole movie and make himself the star, I think it makes the third movie even better, making you want to see the team up. But you can't just give me the team up between them to start the movie, right? Like I don't want the movie to start with like the way that Dom gets saved from the dam blowing up is The Rock shows up. You know?
Yeah.
Like I don't think that's the way to do that. So that would be the thing that interests me the most out of it. I would love to hear what everybody else thought of the movie, where they think this is kind of going. Was there any surprises? Was the action as good as some of the other ones? Some other things kind of coming out of this as far as small bit parts, and I do want to hear about the box office performance. First of all, Alan Richardson's character, Dante, cool little fact I read, originally planned to be Keanu Reeves.
Oh, shit.
That's who they had originally had the idea of being in that character. I think as far as bringing in hand-to-hand combat into this movie, that there could have been some really, really fun scenes that you would have done as far as him fighting. But him doing some of the other parts,
as much as I would have liked that, I think they made the right choice.
They would have had to write the character different.
Yeah.
For sure. Like he couldn't have played the character that Alan Richardson plays in this, right? The other interesting part that I saw, or this isn't necessarily an interesting part, but it's funny. Vin Diesel wants to be included in the vote for Best Actor at the Oscars. He said he invited Hollywood into his family, and it's now that the Oscars should invite him into theirs. It's very funny.
Is that a direct quote?
That's a direct quote.
Oh my
Like I might have paraphrased a little bit, but that was the quote.
Jesus Christ.
I love that his ego is so large that he is like, the performance I did in this movie should be considered for best actor. Like, fuck Leo, fuck whoever else is coming out. I don't give a shit. I want to be best actor.
Sorry, Dom.
Let's get into
Finn
box
or
office.
Mark.
Let's get into box office. So, can you confirm this for me? This is the second biggest opening worldwide of 2023.
Yes.
Okay. It did $319 million worldwide.
Yes.
Did $68 million domestically.
Yes.
Okay. Now can you tell me where this stacks up year to date? Because I assume it won the box office this week.
Fuck, I didn't pull up this week's numbers.
If you want to give me the year, I'll pull up the week.
For the year, they're coming in at 11. That is for domestic numbers, though.
Year to date, they're at 11.
For domestic, yeah.
So how much is the most domestic this year? I know we've done this a million times over, people. I'm sorry.
Still Mario.
It's still Mario, huh?
Yeah.
Wait, did I think Guardians won? Bailey, you are making all the noise.
Guardians won what?
Box office this week? Am I wrong?
No.
All right.
They were close, I think.
Could you? Yeah, I'm not having any luck. Can you've become better at finding this stuff than I have.
All right.
So overall, I would say a success. We did actually talk about this. I think we pretty much had this nail on the head last week. I had mentioned that domestically maybe not as strong, but this movie makes its money worldwide.
So yeah, domestically they were number one this weekend, with Guardians coming in at 32 million, which is still strong.
Yeah. So they basically doubled Guardians up.
Also, fun fact, for their 7th weekend, Mario is still pulling 9.6 mil.
Holy shit. I heard the biggest flop this weekend was the Pixar movie.
I guess it was a flop. What Pixar movie?
Maybe it didn't come out this weekend, but it was the one like, what's the name of it? I just heard it like it's like another huge loss for Elemental.
Okay, yeah.
Did that come out this week?
Upcoming.
Okay, so it's not out yet.
What's the date?
June 16th. Okay, so we're a few weeks out.
Yeah.
It's trending then. I had read somewhere that it was going to flop. So it's trending in the wrong direction.
But, I mean, back to Fast 10, like, we read our predictions last week. We read the projections last week, and it said 70 to 80 mil. They didn't even hit that. Mm-hmm. But I didn't foresee the international success.
But I know I definitely mentioned this last week. I mean, this movie, this franchise in general, it has made a lot of its money because the difference in the international market is they are a lot more bought into the large explosions and the cars and things like that.
Yeah.
I wonder how much they interpret like this is American culture as the Fast movies. They're not far off.
Yeah, they're all trying to buy V8s right now.
So I have this here as far as this upcoming week, and I had this question for you, Dante. Will any of these movies beat Fast 10 in the box office this week? We have Little Mermaid coming out. We have The Machine. Kandahar, which is the Gerard Butler movie. About My Father, which is a Robert De Niro comedy. And you have You Hurt My Feelings, which is the chick from Seinfeld, Julie Louis-Dreyfus.
Okay.
Her movie. Do you think any of those? I think most obviously The Little Mermaid would be the biggest competition. But do you think it's beating Fast?
I think Little Mermaid is definitely number one this weekend.
How big do you think the drop-off is for Fast? So if we're at 68 mil this week, where do you think we fall?
I mean, with that many other movies coming out, I think it drops probably to 30 mil.
I was gonna say 30 to 35 is where I put it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably an accurate assumption because that is like, unlike a lot of these other movies, like the reality is Mario has not had crazy competition, especially in the world of kid movies to
Yeah.
fight, right? A lot of these other films that have been successful this year, even John Wick, like didn't have a lot of other competition coming out after them. John Wick, the franchise, by the way, just passed $1 billion for their all four movies grossed.
Sick.
Yeah. So I like this, that's going to be a huge obstacle. I do think though, to be fair, Little Mermaid's audience is not necessarily the Fast audience. So I wonder how much crossover you have there. I think the thing that Fast hurts is a movie like Kandahar, the Gerard Butler movie, is probably only going to do 10 mil, maybe less in my mind.
Yeah.
Because if you had the choice and you haven't seen Fast 10 yet, and you had the choice between the Gerard Butler movie or Fast 10, and you're an action movie star, what are you choosing?
Fast 10. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even a competition. It's not even a discussion.
Yeah.
I would also say the thing about The Machine. The Machine is an R-rated comedy. I think there is some crossover in the for The Machine as far as fan bases. And I would go as far as to say that. Like Burt Kreischer is going to draw people into that movie, but do I think that that movie is going to do more than 10 mil? No, I don't really think so.
I just looked it up. Opening weekend prediction. Looks like it's around like 5 to 8 mil.
Yeah, like I think that that's the thing. So yeah, I think it finishes second in the box office this week to Little Mermaid. Although, what does it have the Little Mermaid at? Yeah, you spelled Kandahar just wrong.
We'll check that first. Just based off the first link, 300 plus mil domestically.
No, no, nope, nah, ain't happening. Nope, they are gonna be disappointed.
I'm seeing a bunch of other ones dancing around 100 to 110 mil.
More realistic.
Yeah.
I think 90 to 100 is a fair estimate. I think they would have to be disappointed with anything under 90 mil.
Yeah.
I think that it's not going to be good personally, but you know, but I've said this already on here. Little Mermaid's not for me, right? Like I'm not the intended target audience of the Little Mermaid. So teach their own, whatever. I think that comes in first. I think Fast comes in second. I think Guardian stays in at third. And then you get into the Kandahar or The Machine eat that fourth spot. I don't know that De Niro has proven to be all that successful in the box office in some time now, so I don't put much faith. But I think you have three movies there. Or even
based on the predictions, it looks like it's gonna go Little Mermaid, Fast 10, Kandahar Machine.
Well, Guardian's still gonna be in there.
Oh,
So
shit,
that was
yeah.
my point. Guardians is third.
Yeah.
I would still have to say Guardians is third. But you know, but I also look at like About My Father. I think Machine, Kandahar, and About My Father are all gonna be right around the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's going to be it for Fast Talk this week. We've spent 2 straight weeks just going on the Fast franchise. I'm going to see probably 2 of these movies, or I'm going to try and see Kandahar and The Machine, I think, this week.
Yeah.
Maybe Kandahar on Thursday, and maybe just try to find a time to see The Machine this weekend and come back with some thoughts on those. I don't anticipate. Are you planning to see The Little Mermaid in theaters?
I probably will end up watching it, although probably not this weekend.
I can't say personally that I have much that I feel enticed to go see that movie in the theater. I might feel differently come Thursday.
I think once the hype starts up, and you know, depending on the review of it, if a lot of people start saying it's good, you might be a little bit more enticed.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember anything about the original, like the animated version, to be completely honest. Yeah. So for me, I'm not sure that I'll see them. As far as some other stuff that's going on out there that you can watch, Shazam dropped on Max today. They just switched over from today was the first day of Max. That's no longer HBO Max. Weird thing that I've seen. They have both apps still available in the App Store, which I assume it's just that they don't want to completely get rid of HBO Max right off jump here. But it's a little confusing to go on and be like, oh, I can have one or the other. But yeah, Shazam is now on Max. John Wick 4 dropped on digital today as well. So that's out there for people who want to watch it. As far as what I've watched, I'm still watching Arrow. I just finished season 5 today, actually. Prometheus, underrated bad guy in it. And that's all I've watched. Have you got anything going on? Have you done any homework?
I actually started watching The Blacklist.
Oh, you did watch it. D's recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't get too far in because I just started it yesterday, so I'm 3 episodes in.
David Spader, how you feeling?
I like it a lot so far.
Yeah.
So I've pretty sure I've said it on here before, but one of my favorite TV series was White Collar, and I feel like this feels a lot like that, but in a little bit more serious tone.
Okay. So you are going to continue.
Yeah.
You got like 5 seasons worth of show to watch.
Fucking 9 seasons, dude.
What?
9 seasons.
Is it still on?
I didn't even look. I don't know, but like, there's 9 seasons of this, and this is all I'm gonna be watching for the next few weeks.
Yeah, you're for the way you watch it, you got like a year. You got a year in you, bro.
It is still running.
Okay, well, you can catch up, dude, before the new season drops.
Well, technically, season 10 is running right now.
Oh, okay. Well, before it gets to Netflix.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to pay $7.99 for it, though.
Nah. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Okay, so you're watching Blacklist. I'm gonna finish Arrow. I'm not sure what I'm doing after that. As always, everybody, let us know what you are watching out there. Let us know what you thought of the Fast franchise. Are you bummed out about the Alien vs. Predator stuff? I'm still waiting to hear from people about their favorite amusement parks, obviously, and their favorite rides. Did you learn anything new? You can find us weekly here on the pod. We are located wherever podcasts can be found. That is going to be places such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Stitcher, Deezer, Somebody's Nuts. D's?
D's Nuts?
It's D's Nuts?
Think so.
Damn, he's just throwing them all around.
Go check them out.
YouTube is the other big one. We love our YouTube following. Thank you for everybody who watches us over on there. Dante puts a lot of work every week into throwing backdrops behind me. Last week's was a lot of fun. He hated it, but I actually enjoyed watching it.
I was going to say, it was fun for you, maybe.
Yeah. Dante, they can find you at dirtywater_ENT or dirtywater_ENT.
Dirty Water ENT, no underscores on Twitch. Dirty Water _ENT on YouTube and Instagram.
He says that stuff, but he doesn't actually go on either one of those platforms. I actually
started streaming on Twitch again last week.
Okay. Is there a set schedule that they can find you?
Oh, damn. All right. You know what? Don't put me out there like that.
I mean, I would just recommend, from what I can see, that like in order to grow that following, they should have a time where they know you're going to be there. So something to think about, something to chew on. I think you also should go on Kick.
What the hell is Kick?
Kick is the one that gives better money to small streamers. They like split revenue splits or something like 50-50, whatever. I don't know. Either way. They also allow hot tub streams, and you can't drown in one of those.
Is that what I should do? It's a racing channel, so maybe I just, set up my simulator in the bathtub.
Fam, can you fit in a bathtub?
Bro, come on. I don't have a bathtub, but like...
No, I don't either, actually. As a matter of fact, I have 2 bathrooms in my house. No bathtub.
Yeah, they're all just standing showers in my house.
Mm-hmm. It's the way to go, dude. I want to lift my leg up. And honestly, it is a little deflating knowing that, like, whenever I've tried to sit down in a bathtub, I can't fit. Like, it's just not fun. My legs
I can't remember the last time I tried to sit in a bathtub, but
my legs are all scrunched up and everything. It's not cool. Next time you're at your boy's house, like...
Yo, can I just take a bath real
No, don't even take a bath. Just sit in there with your clothes on. Just figure out how it feels. Would this work for me?
Yo, I'm going to use the bathroom real quick.
I don't need to close the door. Until next week, everybody, though, we have been For Those with Good Taste, and we will continue to be. Peace.
For those with good taste.